All right, so we've got our model complete. The next thing I need to do is create the UVs. So the idea here is more or less that when you look at the model, he's in 3D. And what we want to do is be able to place a 2D image, more or less, over top of him. So the UVs are sort of the 2D counterpart to the 3D model. So you can look at it like when I select something over here, it selects the faces here, okay? So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be a little bit of a process. So I'm going to do this. So what you want to do is just go to UV editor, and then you're going to want the UV toolkit. If it doesn't show up, just go to tools and you'll see show UV toolkit. I'm going to take it and just, come on, I'm going to snap it in here. I'm going to take this whole guy and let's snap it. Can I snap you? Oh, wait, I did it for a second. There. Great. Okay. This will work. Okay, so yeah, that's what I need to do. I want to do this to this. Okay, so what we're going to do over here, I'm going to tap spacebar, and I'm going to go to front view. Okay, and it doesn't really matter if I back up, but we're basically going to go down the line here. So I'm going to first create UV. So here, I already did a UV. Yours probably looked like terrible. It's probably all just mashed. I did an automatic UV. We're not going to do that now. We're going to do something different. So I go like this. You want to go to a front view, and then what I want you to do is click on camera base. What that's going to do is going to take a snapshot. All right. Once you're done with that, just go ahead and tap spacebar and go back into perspective. More or less, it's like we took an X-ray of our character. So, for instance, if you were to see it, let's see if I can. Where are you? That's not it. I gotta bring this over more. Here we go. If I turn this on, you will be able to see. Oops. Let's back this up. See how on the edges, on these parts all the way around, see how it's stretched? Because that's representing this edge here. So this doesn't actually work, but it's a good starting spot. We will make this work momentarily. Okay, so let's pull this back. All right, so we've done one kind of projection straight across, and now what I want to do is just cut him into pieces. And then imagine that we're having clothes, right? If you look at your clothes, your shirt, your shoes, your pants, they have seams, right? It's made out of a flat textile that they sew together in order to make a three-dimensional shape. We're going to basically do the opposite. We're going to rip the seams apart and then lay them back out flat. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so first off, let's cut his head off. So I'm going to go, I want you to drag up, go to edge. Oh, I want to turn this off. Hang on a second. I just want to show you with the checkers. It's useful later on, but right now it's a little annoying. Okay. Okay. So, what I want to do is we'll cut his head off. We're just going to cut him into pieces and kind of go from there. So, I usually like to do it from the base of the neck. It kind of depends on your character. So, what I would say is you want to put the seams where there are seams on your character. So, for my guy, actually, there's kind of a seam right here because of his mask. So, I'm actually going to go up higher. But normally, if you have a character, they have a shirt, right? So, wherever there's my skin, and then I have a shirt, like those are separate things. So I would put it down here if he was wearing a t-shirt, like if this is where the seam was. But his is actually a mask, so I'm going to put it actually up here. And I'm just going to, so I right click, drag up to edge. And then what I could do is double click, it'll grab an edge loop, okay? You'll see it go around, so if you go down here, it'll go all the way around. And that's fine, I could just use that, right? But that's not what I'm doing here. So I'm going to double click here, and now I need to go up here. Now what I'm going to do is hold shift, and click, click, click. Make sure you have object X so you don't have to do it multiple times. And then I'm going to double click here, and that goes all the way around. Okay, so you can see I have a seam that edge needs to go all the way around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut it. So now I'm going to go to cut and sew. We don't need the create anymore. And we're going to hit cut. Once you cut the head off, what I want you to do is click on this. Okay, this is the move UV shell. So now I can click on this. I'm going to hit W. And I'm just going to move this up. Just going to get it off, okay? So now he's the headless Wolverine, all right? So that's fine. Now I'm just going to go back to object mode over here, and we're going to carry on. So right-click, drag up to object mode. All right, so I just got his head cut off. Now let's cut his arms off, okay? So mine, again, has a seam right here. There's also a seam here, so I might cut both. We'll see. But you want to cut, so for instance, if your guy was wearing a t-shirt, I'd probably cut a seam right here because his t-shirt would be coming down, and so I'd put a seam there, right? But he'd also probably have a seam above because usually there's a seam on a t-shirt. So I'd put it up here too. If it was long sleeve, I'd put it down where the end of the sleeve was. So it depends on your character. So I'm going to right click, drag up to edge, and I'm going to double click. Let's hit Q, just so it's regular select, double click. See, it doesn't go all the way up, so I got to manually click around. Click, 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 and click, 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 clack, click, click. So basically I make sure I go all the way around, okay? And same thing again, cut. I'm gonna grab that move UV shell. I'm gonna hit W for the move tool, click on this, and just pull his arms up, okay? Just so I know that they're cut off. All right, I'm gonna do the big cuts first, and then we'll go through and do other cuts. I'm gonna right click, drag up to edge, and now I'm gonna put, so again, if you had a t-shirt, you'd put the t-shirt. I need to put his kind of where his underwear line is. I guess that would be right here, we'll say. We'll put it right there. And then I gotta, oops, Q here as well. So I'm gonna put my seam there because he's got his belt right here. So really I could put one up here too. But I'm gonna put it down here more where his underwear, I guess, I mean, that's what it is, right? So we'll cut it. Okay, so now my chest piece, I can grab this and I'll just move this over here. Okay. All right, and again, I'm going to right click, drag up to edge. Okay. Now with his legs, I'm going to go ahead and, so this again kind of depends on what your thing is, right? So if he was wearing pants, I would probably do this. I'd put an inseam here and an inseam on the outside, right? And then on the bottom here, so you'd have front panels and back panels of his pants. Actually, we'll do that later. So, we'll call that good. So now I'm going to put where his shoes are, right? So let's go ahead and do his shoes. So yours probably down here. He's got these weird like boots here. So I'm going to double click on this. Oops, I didn't mean to move it. Double click, double click. Trying to go all the way around. Click in here, right? Because that's where his boot line is. Here, and here, and here, and here. Okay, so there's his boot line. And again, I'm going to hit cut. And I'm going to use that move UV shell and W and there. Okay, so now we've cut a little bit. We've cut them into basically the pieces, right? Oh, yeah, kind of in his pieces, all right, based on basically where you have a shirt and so on and so forth. But I need to do more cuts because there's still more material changes and such, and this will be kind of a benefit to me. So you want to cut where the seams would be for some of the things here, but I also want to cut where the seams would be for materials. So, you know, his arm's here. So obviously for me, I have this here too, like his arm going around. So I'm actually going to cut all the way around here, okay? All right, because this is like a different material than this, and this is different material than that. Okay, so I'm gonna cut that. And again, I'm just gonna move it, and that piece is done. Like I'm not doing any more with this fin thing. And then we have the arm here. So if I look at the arm, right, he's got gloves that basically go up to here. So I'm gonna right click, drag up to edge, and I think the gloves went to there, right? I think that's a good spot. So I'm gonna go there, and I just double clicked, and it went all the way around. So again, I'll hit cut, and I'll hit the move UV shell, and we'll just move his arms up, right? Because this is just skin. And now we have gloves, that's good. And I also have a material change here, so I'm just gonna double click Q all the way around his little panty line here, I guess we would call it. Does it go up? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, it probably goes up. It's gonna hug his little buns here. It's a little tough though. Let's see, go down here. Oh, see, I didn't make a very good seam for this. Crap. I'm going to unselect these. I hold Control and click. And I guess we're going to go out here. He's going to have a bit of saggy bottoms for his underwear line in the back. I might have to hold that up a bit. Might do that later. Okay, so we're going to go like that. And then I'm going to hit cut, right? And then I'm going to use that. Oh, so notice that, oh, did I not cut it? Let's try that again. Cut. Move UV. Try that again. That's weird. W. There it goes. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so now I got his buns cut. And yeah, and now his legs should also be separated. Yeah, good. Okay. So now at this point, I've got all of the materials cut. Obviously, his skin and stuff here on his head would also be like that. But I'm going to avoid that at the moment. We'll come back to his head later. So that's all looking fine and dandy. But if you look, we still have the same problem where, if we look at the shirt here, right? It can't be laid out flat, right? We're still it's still an X-ray through. And if I try to unfold it, there's no way because it's all contained. So what I need to do now is decide on a seam. Okay? So this kind of makes it, so I'm just going to right-click, drag to edge. This kind of depends on your model. So again, if I was wearing a shirt, if you look at your shirt, you'll notice that there's seams on the side, on either side, okay? And then there's also seams up here, right? And that's how you end up with the panel that makes up your shirt. Now, if you have a character and let's say they're kind of nude or it's like a lizard man or something, you don't want to have extra seams where you're going to have, because the problem is that you're going to see these seams. If we put them where there's naturally seams, when the texture is kind of weird there, you'll just think it's the seam and it's fine. That's the idea. So if you're trying to hide the seams, you almost never look at the back of the player. You might actually put it at the back if your character's kind of nude. Now mine's a little bit tough because this is kind of one piece, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it like it was a t-shirt instead of putting it in the back. So to do that, what I'm going to do is go here. I'm going to click here. I want to put it roughly where I think the center line is. So maybe it's there. I'd rather go to the back. We're going to go there. Okay. And then I can just hold shift and click, 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 click. Got that line. And got that one. All right. And now I need to go from here up to here. I'll show you a neat little trick. You can try this. Hold shift still. Click on this because we're still trying to add from the bottom one. And then if I hold shift still and double click here, it will draw the line from there to there. Right? And that's on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and hit cut. And now, if I use that move UV shell, you'll see we have a front panel and a back panel. Okay? Which is what I want. And those can be laid out flat. Like you can see how you could lay that flat, right? Looks good. Let's go ahead and do this thing. So, this, again, if you look at your shirt, you're going to see that usually there's a seam on the bottom. And this is particularly good in my case because you won't see it down here. So I'm just going to go to edge. It's literally a single edge. Where do I want to put this? I want to put it in the same spot as the other one just so it's consistent. So I'm going to go right there. And I'm going to hit, I'm going to hit cut. So I can now lay these out flat. So let me just show you how to do that. So I'm going to go, well, let's not do it that way. So I'm going to select this. Come on, can you do it? No, you're still trying to W, click on this. There we go. So I'm going to select this, okay, which is the front panel. But again, if I were to show you the checkers, you would see that it's stretched because it's not correct. So what I'm going to do is go to unfold, and we're going to hit unfold. And you're going to see it's going to lay it out. So now, if I were to show you, I wonder if I can just, oh no, it's still doing it over there. I was hoping maybe it would expand this one. Come on, go ahead and go back. There you go. So now, if I were to show you the checkers, okay, and you were to look at it, you'll see, oops, notice how, let's bring this back over. Notice how the checkers are even. See how they're nice and even all the way through, even on the edge. Because the unfold, what it does is it kind of lays it out flat, it like irons it out. But if you look at the back, you can see it's dense here. See how they're not square? That means they're kind of squished. And back here, it's stretched. So what I want to do is basically the same thing on this side. So I'm just going to, oops, not that way. I'm going to hit W again. And we're going to go up the top here, select it. I'm used to doing it a different way, but this is probably easier for you. And then we'll hit unfold. And now you'll see it unfolded it. And now notice that the squares are now even, the checkers are, and it looks like that here as well. I'm going to go ahead and also do that on this. And then since I have that tool selected, I can actually just click it here, and I'm going to hit unfold. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at this, notice it didn't unfold, right? I must not have cut that little seam there. You can see, actually, I didn't. So this is the problem. So it looks okay, but notice it's still getting stretched. So what I need to do is actually make sure I cut that. So I'm going to try again. Let's right click, drag up to edge. Click on this guy. I thought I cut it. Hit cut. Okay. Now I'm going to hit W for the move tool. Click on this. Click on this. Now let's try unfold again. Good. Now that that seam's gone, it allows it to unfold. Right? So now it relaxed it a bit, and you can see it's a little bit better. There's still some stretching going on, like right in here. Right? So I can make a decision here on how I want to approach this. I could, if I wanted, actually cut another edge in here, and that might relax it a little bit. We'll come back to this and see if we feel like it later on. All right, so now we need to do that with the arm. So again, you're going to see, right, stretching on this side and on this side, so that's no bueno. Let me see if I can pull this over more. Okay, turn that back off. Oh, I can just grab it that way. That's way easier. Okay, so I need to put a seam on my arm here. So what I'm going to do is right click, drag up to edge, and I got to decide where I want to put it. I want to put the seam where you're least likely to see it. So typically that's either the back of the arm, okay, or underneath here, okay. Now again, if you have a shirt, your shirt has a seam, you should put it right where the shirt is. This is skin though, so it's not a shirt, so they're going to see the seam. So I got to think about where I want to put it, and I'm going to put it, right here, here to here. Oops, I got to go farther to here, okay, like that. And then I'll just hit cut. And let's hit F to frame so I can see it. Good. And I'm going to hit W for the move tool. I'm going to select the shell, click on it here, and then we'll hit unfold. And you see that it unraveled it. Okay. And again, if I showed you, you would see that now it's nicely laid out. All right. So that looks acceptable. We'll come to the hand later because that's going to be a whole thing. Let's do the same thing with the legs. So same issue. So if I was doing normal pants, right, there's an outside seam and then an inseam. I don't know what the outside seam's called. It's probably a name for it too. But I know there's an inseam, outseam, maybe. But again, I mean, this is clothing. So I think I'm just going to keep going on with what I was doing. I think I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to make it like it's pants. Because I think what I'm going to do is make this a little bit more fabric looking. Because I'm going to make this a little bit more old school. Because he's not like huge. I mean, he is big, but he's still somewhat realistic. So he's not cartoony, I guess. Otherwise, I might put the seam in the back because I would want to hide it. Instead, I'm just going to make it like it's clothing. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to hold Shift and double click here. So now there's a seam. I'll hit cut. And then let's do the inside too. Click here. I hit Q so I don't have this manipulator in the way. So Q. Hold Shift, double click, right? And then we'll cut there too. All right. And now I will find the legs, which are right here. And I'm going to use this tool. Click on this one. And we'll hit unfold. Let's move it out of the way. Click on this one. Unfold. And they can just stay right there. And we need to do the same thing with the boots. So the boots are going to be a little bit different. So again, you want to look at the seams of your shoes. More than likely, you don't have good seams there anyway, so you got to kind of work with what you got. I'm actually going to do this first. I'm going to go to Edge, and I'm going to double-click this one, so it goes most of the way around. Yours might not work so well, but I'm going to try and get the bottom of the foot cut off, just because that'll be easier, because that's kind of a flat piece that I can cut. So I'm going to go ahead and hit cut. Where's my shoes? There they are. All right, and then we'll go to the UV shell tool. I'm going to click on it here. It's a little bit easier. I'm going to pull it down, and then we'll hit unfold. There they are. Great. Now let's do the rest of the foot here. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and hide the seam because he doesn't really have seams in his shoes per se. So I'm going to put them in the back. So I'm going to go to Edge, and I'm just going to go here, and I'll double click, go down to there. And you see how it went all the way down and around? I don't want to cut in here, so I'm going to hold Control and unselect there. So Control is unselect. So I'm holding Control, click there. So I could also just, because it's easier, click on here, hold Shift, double click here. Now I got a seam. You got to go from where the border is to where the border is. What? Why you know work correctly? There it goes. Oh, you stupid thing. Let's try again. Oh, you know why? Because I think because there's a V there. So I'm going to click there. I'm going to click here and then double click. There it goes. All right. So go like that. And I'll hit cut. And I don't think this is going to be good by default, but we'll see what it does unless it unfolds. And it's not terrible. Really, I don't know how bad it is until I do this. Let's go ahead and put the checkers on. And let's see what the seams look like. Or let's see what it looks like. It's surprisingly not bad on the front and around. Like, these are pretty even. It does get stretched kind of up here, which I kind of anticipated. And some of that we might be able to fix later. I'm going to show some tricks of maybe trying to relax that a little bit. But that's not terrible. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's do this. Put this back. Okay. Good. Let's do the head next, and then I'll do the hands. Okay. We'll do the hands first. Okay. So normally, what I would tell you to do is this. Okay. So yours again might be different than mine. If you have a long sleeve shirt and it goes right to the wrist, then your seam's going to be right here, and you're good to go for the next step. If it's not, let's say you have a t-shirt. Let's say your t-shirt and you have a seam here, and then it's skin. You want to just put a seam on the wrist, and then just put, and then just do what I did where you put it all the way down, right? So instead of cutting it off here, yours would be cut off down here, right? I just have this glove, all right? So imagine I had a seam here, but I don't need to do that because this is all one long thing. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go to edge, and I want to cut basically the midline. So if you look at gloves, if you've ever worn gloves, I'm assuming you have, there's actually just a seam that goes right down the middle here. So if I double click on this, you can see it's going right around. Now, I've seen your guys' fingers. They were terrible. So this might not work so well for you. You're going to have to just manually click and click and click and click all the way around till you go all the way and try to find the middle ground as best as you can. Luckily enough for me, mine's not like that. So if I just double click, I kind of had it there. But I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to hold shift. And actually, let me double click because I don't know where it is on the other side. It's right there. Okay. So click here. I'm going to hold shift and double click. And then it drew that line straight across. Right? But it's basically the midline is what you're looking for. And then I'll hit cut. And let's go to this. And where are you? I'm going to hit W for the move just so that it's not weird. Click on that. Hit unfold. There's one glove. Click on the other one. Unfold. And there's the other part of it. Okay? So it might need a little more work, but that's at least the start because that's basically how gloves are cut. Sometimes there's other seams too where they put it down the center here, but that should work for the most part for what we have. All right, so now let's do the head. And that's kind of the last piece, really. Okay. So typically for a head, what you want to do, yours might be a little bit lower on the neck. You might have a neck and then a head, what have you. So what you want to do is you go to edge, okay? And you got to manually do this. You're going to hold shift or just click, hold shift and click, click, click. And then what I want you to do is this. You want to basically, remember before I was saying like the head is kind of a 4 panels? So what you do is go up to basically where the back panel stops, okay? So mine would be either here or here, right? I would call that the back of the head, okay? And then this would be the top of the head, and this is the front, and this is the side, okay? Think of it like that. So what you do is draw a line straight up the center at about where you call the back of the head. It's up to you where you want to call that, okay? So I'm going to call mine up here. Then what you do is go sideways like this, okay? Till you get to the front of the head. All right, so that would be here, here. So you get to basically what you call the top panel, right? So here, 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 and here. So what you have is it looks like a field goal post, right? A line up, out and over, and then like this. Okay, it should look like that. Then you're going to cut it. And then what you want to do is select it and hit unfold. And it will unfold it like so. Now this isn't going to work for my guy because my guy, he's got some other things going. He's got these fins and stuff like that. But if you have a typical normal bald head, that's what you want to do, is something like that. Okay, I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to do mine a little bit differently. because I've got these like fins and things. Okay, so I'm gonna go to edge, but that's what you would want to do normally for your stuff there. Okay, but my guy's a little bit different, so I am going to go up to here. We'll say here, and I'm going to cut around for his headpiece here. So I think this makes sense. Go like this. Like that. I'm gonna cut that as a. I'm gonna cut that there. I'm just wondering if I should go up and yeah, we'll go like that. We'll cut like that. I'm gonna hit cut. I'm not even sure honestly what I'm doing yet, right? That's fine. So basically, I cut this top panel as a separate piece. Then I'm gonna cut here because right here is where his like suit goes to. I don't know if I want to go to his ear or if I want to go before it. I'm gonna go a little bit before it. So we'll go right there. So I'm gonna cut that too. Just because like this black piece, I don't know if you know what Wolverine looks like, but he's got this black piece here. So I think that will kind of help with that. And then this part actually goes down his nose. So I'm gonna go down like this to here. I'm actually gonna cut that as a seam as well. Good. And then he's also got this seam here. So here, and I'm just clicking across like that, and we'll cut that. I think that's kind of okay. So I'm actually gonna remove this seam and click on this guy, and this guy, and then we're gonna go ahead and sew that back together so that that's one piece. And I'm gonna select this edge and sew that too, because this can all just be one large piece. And we'll see what we have. I might need to do a little bit more whatever with it, but that's not a terrible start, I don't think. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do the UV shell. Can I click and drag? I am. Okay, I'm going to click and drag over it. And then we're going to hit unfold and we'll see what we get. So let's see. We got this piece here, which I think looks acceptable. I got this piece here, which that I'm definitely going to cut up. This front one, I think that looks actually pretty good. Don't mind that. I think it's probably just people want to give me my extended warranty. Okay, so these all look pretty okay. This back part looks fine to me. The top looks fine. The mouth looks fine. I might want to cut the nose, but I think that's probably okay because it's not a lot in there. But this part's not very good. I'm not a huge fan of that because there's this unnecessary little piece here. I think if I got rid of that, so I'm gonna go to edge and actually select this one and cut that, so that we don't that doesn't need to be part of the same thing. And then the other part is up here is getting really jammed up. That's actually what that's what this is right here. That shouldn't look like that. So, anyways, I'm gonna cut that. So let's. I already cut it. I'm just gonna take. Oh, I thought I did. Yeah, no, I did. Come on, UV shell, and unfold again. It's probably not gonna do too awful much. Okay. So, is there something? Oh, I thought I saw a dot of something there. Okay. I think it's just an aberration. Okay. So, we're going to call that good. Now what I need to do is this. So, actually, I'm going to call that good enough for now. And then the next video, I'm going to kind of relax some things, just because we're getting kind of long here. I'm going to relax some things and try to get in position and basically finalize it.